Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice of radio. So today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at a new Sunflora card. And I get the feeling I am more hyped about this card than most people. And maybe it's not going to be quite as good as I'm hoping, and maybe it's just because it's unique. But oh my goodness, this card is unique and fun. Now, we have had some Sunflora in the past that have been kind of unique and fun. I mean, the one for me that always stands out was back in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. We had the Sunflora with Sunshine Grace. Once during your turn, search for a grass Pokemon, show it to your opponent, put it into your hand. And what's super weird is that was the last Sunflora we actually had. And that was back in February 2010, so it's going to be 9.5 years between Sunflora cards. I cannot be the only one that thinks that's weird. I like this Sunflora, ladies and gentlemen. So 90 HP is... maybe one day we get a level ball reprint, let's say that. Retreat cost of 1 we like because we've got U-turn board, which is quite nice. Weakness to fire we absolutely abhor here. We hate this weakness. We've got Welder making decks like Reshiram and Charizard and Blacephalon and all of those into basically the best decks in the format. No, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a fan of this, even a little bit, not even at all. Boo! But then again, you only give up one prize, you've only got 90 HP anyway. And you are a grass Pokemon, but honestly, we're not seeing a huge amount of grass-weak Pokemon in the format at the moment. Now, with fire being so prevalent, there is always a possibility that something like Slowpoke and Psyduck comes out as a counter card, and then you can hit them for weakness. And I showed you Flygon GX just an hour or two ago that I thought looked really gosh darn good. And that's weak to grass. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the best weakness to be hitting. And in terms of other tricks, grass tends to be healing. Life Forest Prism Star and Shaman and... You've got 90 HP and a terrible weakness. Healing ain't going to be exciting. But the first attack, oh my goodness, the first attack is exciting. 2 colorless energy. During your next turn, ignore all energy in the cost of all attacks of all of your grass and fire Pokemon, including Pokemon played that turn. So you use the attack one turn, and then during your next turn, you can play any fire or any grass Pokemon you like, and you don't have to pay anything for any of their attacks. I cannot be the only one that looks at this and goes, oh my goodness, there is so much potential, I'm a little bit in love. Now this will work on evolved Pokemon, but really what we want to be doing here is using your basic Pokemon. See, if you can find some basic grass and fire that are really gosh darn beefy Pokemon, and then using those, you could be dropping some surprise attacks. I mean, just to use one fairly obvious example, Reshiram and Charizard. All of a sudden, you drop Reshiram and Charizard, and you're using their attack for 0 energy. You're sitting there doing Flare Strike, doing 230 for 0 energy. Now, we will need a ruling as to whether you can use Double Blaze with the extra effect. I would assume not, because essentially Double Blaze would turn into 0 energy, 200 damage. If this Pokemon has at least 3 extra fire energy attached to it, you do 300 and it goes through any effects on the defending Pokemon. Not a guarantee per se, but I think it's fair to assume that that's what it will probably be. Similarly, Blacephalon GX, you can use Mind Blown for 0 energy, but you've still got to Lost Zone a fire energy to do 50 damage, etc. Okay, so you need to bear in mind that it is an issue in terms of you've got to make sure that it is just the raw energy cost. Cool. So with all of that borne in mind, what kind of other Pokemon can we use here to hit for crazy damage? One of the ones I really like is Celebi and Venusaur, but using the GX attack. So using Evergreen GX for essentially 1 grass energy, heal all damage from the Pokemon, 180 damage, and shuffle all cards from your discard pile into your deck. That could be kind of fun. Now, obviously, you're still playing a free prize Pokemon. It's still weak to fire. That is a little bit awkward. But, still an option. How about the Pheromosa? Now, this only gives up 1 prize. This is the one from Forbidden Light. And essentially, if you have 1 prize card remaining, you can do 180 damage for 0 energy. I don't know about you, but I think that could be pretty gosh darn good, ladies and gentlemen. I could totally get on board with that. The problem is that all of these Pokemon are grass, and ergo they're quite easy for your opponent to get rid of. Another one that I don't mind here is the Delmise that came around in Celestial Storm that essentially would do 130 for 0 energy. That's not too bad. I'm alright with that. But given the horrific weakness, I think we might be better off here having a play with fire Pokemon instead. Now, I've already mentioned Reshiram and Charizard, but how about Moltres? The Moltres that came around in Team Up. Now, this is a really good card because it just does 180 damage. For 4 energy, discard 3 energy. Now, the important thing here is you do 180, then you discard. So the ruling here would be do 180, discard 3 energy. Well, you don't have 3 energy. Oh, that's fine. It's exactly the same ruling as when we used to have, say, Zoroark from Black and White, copying the Reshiram from Black and White, and it would be do the damage, copy Blue Flare, try and discard, there's nothing to discard, move on with your life. Now, you can also copy the Heatran from Lost Thunder to do 150 and discard the top 5 cards of your deck. I would argue you're probably better off going with the Moltres. Or maybe use Entei with Eruption. Each player discards the top card of their deck. You do 80 plus 60 for each energy card discarded in this way. So you have a little bit of milling to go along with it. That could be kind of fun. I don't have time to go through every possible option in this video. Of course you can play around with stage 1s here, and if you do, ditto Prism Star, of course you can play around with stage 2s here, but it gets a little bit awkward. I think what you really need is basic Pokemon. You attack with Sunflora, and then bring in the basic. Honestly, my favourite option here is Moltres. Although for grass, I do like Pheromosa if you've got 1 energy remaining. Now, in terms of paying the attack cost for Sunflora, you can use Welder or Triple Acceleration Energy. There are other options, but I think they're the best options. Triple Acceleration Energy will just pay it in one go, given that you are an evolved Pokemon, but it does fall off at the end of your turn, so you might want to not use that. Welder attaches to and lets you draw 3 cards. That might be a better option. The only thing I hate here, the only real pause for thought, is the fact that this is a 2-turn thing. First, you attack with Sunflora and you don't do any damage. Then you get an attack for free. But what you can really do is just sit here going Sunflora, hit 180 with Moltres. Sunflora, hit 180 with Moltres. But then bring in Reshiram and Charizard for big attacks if you want to. You don't even need the Pokemon out on the field. I do think there's potential here. It is a 2-turn thing, and that does make me a little bit reticent. But you are playing Triple Acceleration Energy here, so there's nothing to stop you using other stuff like Slowking, for instance, and just whacking a Triple Acceleration Energy on there and hitting a 1-hit KO on Reshiram and Charizard, for instance. It might be that this is just too awkward and I'm just getting excited over nothing. It might be that this being such a unique attack makes me overly excited as someone who sits and analyzes cards as well as playing. But I just think this looks fun. And I think it looks good. And it seems like the kind of card that sooner or later somebody is going to be able to break wide open. It's interesting, if nothing else, but I think somebody's going to be able to make something of it. And remember, we don't have to have the card now. This could be really good with a card that we get in 6 months, a year, 18 months, any time between now and when Sunflora rotates. Now there is a second attack, but we've left it till the end because it's grass, double colorless, 80 damage. If you're using this attack, something's gone wrong. It's a very bad attack. And I'm sorry, but that's all the analysis you're getting. It's not the point. Even if you don't want to use the first attack for Sunflora to hit for free with something else, you should be attacking with something else. There we go. I'm going to be giving Sunflora free wassies. I get the feeling that it's going to end up being too awkward, but oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. So there we go. But I would like to know what you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.